Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial I will show you how to make this beautiful lace boxy shirt. I hope you will like it and I hope you will try to make it because you can make this. So let's get started. For this shirt, I'm using Scheepjes Organicon. This is 100% organic or biological cotton. And the recommended needle is 3 millimeters. It's fingering weight yarn, but I kind of find it in between fingering and sport because I found that some other fingerings weight yarn are thinner than this, but in cotton I think you should look for fingering or 8/4 cotton. And as I said, I will be using a 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. I made a gauge swatch over here to try to figure out with how many stitches to start. And this boxy shirt has a side-to-side construction. This means that the number of stitches that we will start with is actually giving us the length of the boxy shirt and not the width. And then depending on how many rows you will work, this will kind of helping you to know where to stop with your width of your boxy shirt depending on your desired width. I find this construction easier with this crochet pattern because the gauge is kind of changing along while working. So I started to work considering a width of 55 centimeters and while I was working it was shrinking, so that's why I decided to go with this side-by-side construction because in length then it will be easier to adjust with a ribbing or something else, or even if you want a longer shirt then you know that you should start with more stitches. So now I will start with the size that I'm making. I'm making size small. For the length you should start with as many stitches as you wish. I will start with 134 stitches. While I was working on this, I realized while I was making the chart that you will need a multiple of 9 plus 8 stitches. But of course that if you have a couple of stitches in plus after finishing the first row, you can undo that remaining stitches, and the same you can add a few stitches. Make sure that you let a longer tail to be able to do that. Now I do recommend to place a stitch marker into the last stitch because in this way it will be easier to know where to place your first stitch. The idea of this first row is that you will need to start with one kind of a stitch and finish with the same stitch. Now I will do 5 chains, so the first 3 will count as a double crochet, and then we need a separating chain of 2. And we will work now skip the next stitch after the marked stitch and work into the next one, and we will do a double crochet together wide. So I started with a double crochet, keep 2 loops on your hook, skip 2 stitches, make another double crochet, and when you have 3 loops on your hook, you should finish this stitch. Then we will chain 2 and skip the next 2 stitches, and into the next one we will work double crochet, chain 2, and another double crochet into the same stitch. So this will be the two type of stitches that we will repeat to the end of the row, and we will need to finish the row with this two double crochet together. So now I chain 2, skip the next 2 stitches and insert the hook into the next one, pull through and keep 2 loops on your hook, skip 2 stitches and make the other double crochet 2 together. And at the end of the row we need to finish with the same stitch as we start with. And then I will chain 2, we need to skip 1 stitch, and into the last one we will work a double crochet. And as you can see, I have some stitches left because I chain more, so it's okay if this happens to you. I counted the stitches several times, but it was difficult to keep the track on them, so this can happen. So if it's happening, don't worry, you can fix that. So now to start the second row, we will chain 8. So the first 3 are the double crochet, the beginning chain, and then we need to skip that double crochet 2 together wide. So we will chain 5 more. And then on the top of the first double crochet, we will work a double crochet. And then chain 2. And another double crochet into the next double crochet, and then we will chain 5 and then skip all that chains and 2 double crochet together wide, and then double crochet, chain 2 and another double crochet into the second double crochet of the V. And we will repeat to the end of the row. So the beginning and then the end of the row is the same. We need to finish with the same type of stitches. So this means that we will need to finish this row with that chain 5 that we have at the beginning. And then we will skip 2 stitches, 2 chain stitches, the 2 double crochet together wide, and another 2 stitches, and into the third we will work a double crochet. Now the next row will be with the same combination of stitches as for the first row, but this will be offset because in the end the circle pattern needs to be offset. So if we started with a 2 double crochet together wide, this row, the third one, will begin with a V stitch. So they will be the same stitches, the same combination of stitches, only that we need to make on top of 2 double crochet together wide to make a V stitch. So now I'm starting the row with chain 3. So on the chain 5 we will have a V. On top of the 2 double crochet with 2 chains we will have 2 together wide. So chain 3 as the beginning stitch, and then we will have to chain 2 more, so 5 in total, and into the third stitch of the 5 chain space we will work a V stitch. So double crochet, chain 2 and another double crochet, chain 2 and the 2 double crochet together wide. Now we are working now the front panel. I forgot to tell you at the beginning, but for the back panel you should work the same, only that you will work a different number of rows because the front panels needs to be half of the back panel. And if you want to adjust the width, make sure that you will have an uneven number of rows to finish with this type of row that we are working up right now. So now we'll continue to work V-stitches into the middle of the 5 chain space, and double crochet together wide on top of double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, and we will continue to the end of the row and our pattern begins to take shape. So for the back panel we will work, I will let you know later on. So now the last V stitch, so into the 3rd stitch we will work the V stitch and then chain 2, skip 2 stitches because it's easier like this, and into the 3rd we will work a double crochet. Now again we will have the same combination of stitches on the next row, only that it will start a little bit different. So on top of that V stitch we need to work the double crochet, chain 2, double crochet. So and skip the chains and 2 together wide with a 5 chain space. So to do that we will start with chain 3, because our circles now will be in between these circles that we just finished right now. So to have this offset pattern we need to change the position of the stitches. So now we will start with chain 3, and then we need a separating chain of 2, so 5 in total, and then double crochet into the first double crochet, then chain 2 and a double crochet into the next double crochet, and now we will chain 5 and skip that combination of chains and double crochet together wide, and we will go into the next V stitch and work 1 double crochet, chain 2 and another double crochet. And we will repeat this to the end of the row, and at the end of the row we will chain 2, and into the 3rd stitch we will work 1 double crochet. So this lace pattern is actually a 2 rows repeat, only that because of this offset position of the motifs we need to change the position of the stitches as well, but in the end we are working the same combination of stitches. So now we are building the other circles that will be in between these circles. So now we just need to know that on top of the chain 5 we will need to work a V stitch into the middle, into the 3rd stitch, and on top of double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, we need to work a double crochet together wide. So this is what you need to have in mind every time you build a row, because if you understand how to position the stitches, then you will know what you will need to do. So now if I need to work, almost all the rows are starting with chain 5 with that chain 3 and 2 separating chain. Only when you have an wrong side row, which is the one with chain 5, and you need to start with chain 5 because you have that double crochet together wide that you need to skip, that row will start with 8 chains. So now I would chain 5, and on top of double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, I worked 2 double crochet together wide, and now in the middle of the chain 5 I'm working the V stitch, chain 2 and again 2 double crochet together, and chain 2, and into the third stitch of the chain 5 we will work V-stitch. And after that you simply need to repeat from row 2 to row 5 until you reach the desired width of your back panel. Now I will write it down how many rows to work for the back panel and how many rows to work for the front panel shoulder, because you will need to work the same pattern, only that of course fewer rows than for the front panels as for the back panel. So work the required number of rows for the back panel, then fasten off and begin to work the front panel. Front panels will be worked identical, and after finishing the first 15 rows for the front panels, we will begin to shape the neckline. So that is why we are working now only the shoulder. So I hope that you understand that it was the same pattern, the same number of stitches to begin with. So I said to make this video shorter and just explain that you should finish the back panel, the required number of rows, fasten off, and then start the front panel in the same way as the back panel, only that you will be working only 15 rows or the required number of rows for your size. Now here are the first 15 rows for my front panel, and we will begin to shape the neckline. So we will have a few decreases for some of the sizes because the row starts and ends with a different stitch, either the V stitch or the 2 double crochet together wide. The decrease pattern will be the same, only that for those who the row is ending with 2 double crochet together wide, it will be the neckline a little bit lower. What I'm doing right now, I will work the next row in the required pattern until I will get to the second to last V-stitch. Now into the second to last V-stitch, I worked the first double crochet, chain 2, and now I will work into the next double crochet, and with the 2 double crochet together wide, a 2 double crochet together wide to make the first decrease. Yeah, so again I work into the first double crochet of the V-stitch, a double crochet, and I'm not working the second double crochet after the chain 2 like this. I will work it together with another double crochet that will be placed into the 2 double crochet together wide. So this will be the first decrease, as you can see in the stitch chart as well. Yeah, so now I will start with chain 3 and turn, and I will work a double crochet into the double crochet stitch. So this is the second decrease, and now I will start to work as normal the stitch pattern. So I will consider this chain 3 and double crochet as a single stitch. So now we'll chain 2, and into the third chain of the chain 5 chain space I will work the V-stitch, and then chain 2. You can place a stitch marker into that double crochet at the beginning because it will be difficult to see the end of the row, so maybe it will be an idea to place a stitch marker there. I don't have it on hand right now, so it will be difficult. So now we will work into the established stitch pattern until the last V stitch. And into the last V stitch we will work 2 double crochet together wide. On the stitch chart is looking a little bit weird. It's like cutting that with that decrease, but on real life you see that it's looking more natural. So now this is the end of the row where my thumb is, and we will finish actually into the V stitch that is before by working a double crochet together wide. Now we finish with decreases. As you can see, we will consider this double crochet together wide as a single stitch, so as a beginning stitch, so or the last stitch, as it will be a double crochet. So now we will start the next row with chain 3 and 2 separating chains, so chain 5, and this is my number 19 over here. So as you can see, the decrease is looking pretty nice, even on the chart is a little bit weird. So now we will begin to work straight, so into the established stitch pattern until we finish the width of the first panel. So here I am. As you can see, we will finish the row as normal. So now we are just counting how many rows we have until now. I have 19 and I will work 23 in total. After you finish with the number of rows for the front panel, of course, fasten off and repeat the same pattern for the second front panel. We will work both panels identical, and because they need to mirror each other. When we will assemble the blouse, we will just place one of the front panels on the wrong side. The stitch pattern is the same on both sides, so it won't be such a big difference. And this is to make it easier and not to complicate the things. So this is how it's with the front panel looking. Now we will join the shoulders because I want to work the sleeves right into the shoulders. So we will join the shoulders and then we will begin working the sleeves, and at the end we will assemble everything together and seam the sides. So now for the shoulder seam, I'm using the crochet hook, and we will do a pattern of chains and slip stitches, and we will place the slip stitches in between the rows or top or bottom of the side row, because here we are working into the side rows. I will place a stitch chart over here to make it easier to understand what we are doing. So my panels are facing the front, the right side, and now I will rejoin the yarn into the bottom of the stitch of the first side row. So here I have a chain 3, so I'm trying to place it right into the bottom of that stitch. And I'm making a slip knot to make it more secure, and now I will chain 2. Now I'm going into the bottom of that stitch of the first side row of the front panel, and I'm going to make a slip stitch. Now I will chain 2, and I'm going into the bottom of the stitch of the next side row. So over there, or in between the rows, you can go like this as well. And I will work a slip stitch. And then again chain 2. And going into the corresponded spot on the front panel, so over here, and I will do a slip stitch, and again chain 2 and going into the next. So this is my row, and I will go over there with the slip stitch. So as you can see, I'm making the slip stitches on the wrong side for the back panel and on the right side for the front panel, because I found it easier this way. And you should weave in like this until you finish the joining the shoulders, and of course you'll do the same on the other shoulders. I found this lace method of joining the panels on this lace pattern that is looking prettier, but of course that if you want to use a different method of joining the shoulders, feel free to do so. Now I will continue to finish with this, and we will use the same method for joining the sides of the shirt, so you might want to get used to that. So now let's just finish this, and then we will move forward to the sleeves. Okay, kind of this is how it's looking. It's looking pretty on both sides, so you still can choose which is the right side and the wrong side of your shirt. Now a short video showing you how this to look together right now, and there's kind of a nice process to see. And of course that now we are about to work the sleeves, because these shirts need some sleeves. I already worked the first sleeve over here, and we will work right into the front and back panel edges, and you can see that the pattern is continuing, so it has continuity, and you cannot tell where exactly the sleeve is starting, only that we have that shoulder seam. So what we will need to do is to look at our edges. Into the description and into the instruction, I mentioned that we need to start and finish with the same uneven row, so it will have this V stitches and 2 double crochet together. And we will start the sleeve by working the wrong side row, which is that one with chains and double crochets with 5 chain spaces, and we should count the number of V stitches and double crochet together from the shoulder seam. I will have 12, so I'm counting as a stitch, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 until I will have 12, and you can adjust that depending on the width that you wish. And I'm placing my hook into the next double crochet. So I have a V stitch. The first stitch is a 2 double crochet together wide, but you can also have the first stitch from the sleeve width a V stitch. You need to pay attention to start the pattern, so the wrong side row pattern, with the corresponded stitch. If you have a 2 double crochet together, you'll need to skip that with chain 5, so you need to start with chain 8 as I have here. But if you have a V stitch, then you will have the beginning of the row right into double crochet together wide, so you will need to start with only 5 stitches and work on top of that V stitch the double crochet, chain 2 double crochet. So I think you are used with the pattern already, so you can figure out how to begin this row. In the written pattern, I do have row by row written the pattern for both situations. So now let me put here how many V stitches and double crochet together wide I calculated for each size. But of course, feel free to adjust the number of stitches to reach the desired sleeve width. Now what I'm doing here is simply following the pattern because it's like even if I'm working into the foundation chain, I do have the stitches and I'm simply following, skipping with 5 chains, the 2 double crochet together wide, and two chain stitches and 2 chain stitches before and after. And on top of the V stitch, I'm going to work a double crochet, chain 2, and another double crochet. And we will work like that, but let's see what is happening when we reach the shoulder seam, because we will need to consider that over there. So when we are getting to the shoulder seam, I have here, like, I worked the V stitches. So now I will consider the shoulder seam because I have also V stitches that is next. So I will consider it as 2 double crochet together wide. If you stopped with your pattern with 5 chains, then you can consider the shoulder seam V stitch and work double crochet, chain 2, and double crochet. Whatever your pattern is before and after the seam, consider to work like that. You should have the same stitch because you start and finish the row with the same stitch when you were working the front and the back panel. So now that I pass over the shoulder seam, I'm just continuing into the established pattern to the end of the row. Again, to finish the row, you need to look at how your stitches are laying. So if I will have a double crochet together wide, same as at the beginning of the row, I will chain 5 and skip those and work a double crochet into the next stitch, whatever that stitch it is. But if I will have a V stitch, then I will work this double crochet, chain 2, double crochet, and I will finish with chain 2 and a double crochet into the last stitch. I do have the same stitch at the end because of course we have the same number of stitches, and I will finish the row like this. So now that we've completed the first row, now it's easier to keep following the same pattern until we reach the desired length of the sleeve. For the sleeve I chose 3/4 length, so I worked in total 16 rows. So let's just finish the length of the sleeve, and then we will meet up again to see how to finish off the sleeve. Now for the sleeve edge, I'm switching to a 2.5mm crochet hook because those chains are a bit narrower than a regular single crochet, and I want to make this edging with one row in single crochet and the other row in front post single crochet, and I find that this smaller hook is more helpful. So what we will do now, I just chain 1 and we will single crochet into every stitch except the 2 chains that are in between the double crochet of a V stitch. So there I will choose to work only 1 chain. Small decreases, not to have a wonky edge or uneven edge. If you want to skip even more, or if you're working with the same 3.5mm crochet hook, maybe you want to skip more stitches, so you can even into the chains between the stitches, between the double crochet two together or V stitches, you can still work only 1 stitch if you feel like you need less single crochet to get a nice and even edge. Even with a smaller hook and with skipping this V stitch, I still think that I should have been skipping more chain stitches, but yeah, I'm pretty happy with the result. But just as an advice, that is no problem if you decide to skip more stitches. And after finishing this first single crochet row, I will chain 1 and then turn, and I will work front post single crochet to create that emboss or in relief row on the right side. So front post stitches to the end of the row. Okay, we will finish off this edging with one last single crochet into the last stitch, and we can cut the yarn. And this is how the edging is looking. I think it's a pretty nice edge. I think I was obsessed lately with this kind of finishing my crochet projects, but of course that you can choose any other edging that you would like or you prefer. This is just how I did it. Now that we finished with the sleeves, of course that you should follow the same pattern for the other sleeve. I just work it ahead before showing you this one. So now we will join the sides, and I will use the same method as I use for the shoulders. What is different right now is that for the sleeves we are working into the side row, same as for the shoulders, but for the sides of the shirt we are working into the stitches. So when we are going with those slip stitches, we simply go from we are skipping those 2 chain stitches that are in between the stitches. So here I am, and I will show you right away. So now I'm rejoining into the first stitch, and I will chain 2, then going into the first stitch of the other panel. Okay, chain 2, going into the first stitch of the other panel and make a slip stitch. Then chain 2, and I will skip those 2 chain stitches that are in between. Yeah, so here I have 2 stitches and then a V-stitch, and I will go with a slip stitch into that double crochet of the V-stitch. Then chain 2 again and going into the, no, I was about to go on the bottom hem, but no. So I will skip that, separating 2 chains and going into the next stitch, and we will continue like this until we finish, and we finish joining the sides, and we will go further with the sleeves as well. So we will join everything in one piece, and then after finishing assembling the blouse, the shirt, we will continue with those edging and finishing touches. Okay, we finished joining the sides. This is how the joining is looking. Everything is in place, and we will begin to work the front panel and collar edging. I will do the same 2 rows in single crochet and in front post single crochet, and we will work the front panels edges and the collar in one single piece, and then we will work the bottom hem. So here I'm using the smaller hook, the 2.5 millimeters, and we will do the same into the V stitches chains. We will work only 1 single crochet and not 2. Is the same thing valid as for the same suggestion that I gave you for the sleeves? You can skip even more chain stitches if you want to use especially the same 3.5 millimeter crochet hook. Maybe you don't have any, but try to skip them proportional, so I don't know, every few stitches to make sure that it will keep an uneven edge. And when we will get at the top of the front panel, we have that corner to pass on the neckline. So there we will work 3 stitches or 2 depending on how big the curve is. Yeah, so usually there are 3 stitches, but if you want a smoother corner, then you can work only 2, but we will get there right away. By the way, by this time you should decide which is the right side of your blouse, because you need to start working the single crochet row on the right side. And we will go until the other bottom. So first we will arrange this corner over here, so into that last stitch I will work 3 stitches, or maybe 2. 1, yeah, I think we can do another one. So I work 3 stitches in the end, and then we are working into the side rows, and into the side rows we will work 1 single crochet into the bottom of the stitch of the side row and 1 single crochet into the top, or you can work 3 if you are working with the smaller hook. I decided to work 3 stitches if the side row starts with 3 chains, and only 2 stitches into the double crochet, because it's a smaller hook and I might need more stitches. But usually you should work 2 stitches, or if you feel that double crochet side row or 3 chain side row is a bit longer, so the stitches are looser, you can work there 3 stitches just to keep an even distance between those single crochet, and this will give you a nice and neat edge. And also try to place the stitches right into the stitches and not under, because again this will give you a nice and neat edge. Now let's just continue and work until the other bottom to finish 1 entire row, and then we will turn and work front post single crochets for the corners at the neckline. On the front post single crochet row I didn't work any increase, so I just front post single crochet into each stitch. Okay, so now I finished the first row in single crochet, and I will chain 1 and turn, and starting to work those front post single crochet to create the same edging as for the sleeves. And again, as I said, into the corners we won't do anything special, no increase this time, only going and pass over each stitch. So going from front to behind around the single crochet stitches, we are working those single crochet front posts. Now that we finish with the edges, we still have to work the bottom edging, and for the bottom edging we will do the same pattern. And because we are working into the side row, we will do 2 stitches per every side row. But just let me show you now the tie closure cords. So I'm placing the first one on top. I will make it right into the first stitch, into the top stitches over here. Make sure that you will do on the other side, you will make them on the corresponding stitch. So because I'm working and turning with a single crochet row, I will go below with a stitch, and I will rejoin the yarn, and I will chain 70 stitches, or depending on how long you want this cords to be, then you can chain the required number of stitches. I will chain 70. I said that it will be enough, and it was enough, luckily. Lucky me. And then we will turn and work single crochet stitches. You can try to make the single crochet stitches into the loop, the bump that is under the chain, and this way your edge, it will look more beautiful, more it will be neat and looking nice. And after getting to the end of the row, so just work single crochet stitches into that third loop of a chain is called sometimes, but it's just that little bump behind the chain stitches, or on the back of the chain stitches. And we will continue to work single crochet stitches until we will get at the end of the chain. You can also go with slip stitches if you would like, and at the end we will simply slip stitch into the next stitch. And of course you need to repeat it for all 4 cords. And that was it. Then weave in all the ends and block the blouse and wear it with pleasure. I hope you like this tutorial. I hope you enjoy it. I can't wait to see your Mojito shirt. So thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye.